Hello, everyone. I hope you are all having a really good day. I'm really looking forward to talking about 3 reasons why a lot of businesses fail and also why a lot of people's dreams actually go unachieved while giving you some of my own kind of business experience. And to start, I actually want to talk about Nelson Mandela. And the reason I want to talk about Nelson Mandela is because he actually has a lot to do in correlation with the 3 reasons why a lot of businesses fail. And for those of you who don't know Nelson Mandela, you're living under a rock. But what a lot of people forget about Nelson Mandela is that he actually spent 27 years in prison for non-violent protests because he was anti-apartheid. So this is a man who non-violently protested the rights of Black people in South Africa and eventually went on to be president and is one of our world's most well-known human rights activists. And again, one of the things we forget often about Nelson Mandela is that he did actually spend 27 years in prison before creating that type of change that he wanted to see. And he was arrested for the work that he was doing. And what that has to do with why most businesses fail is because if we were all as committed to living out our dreams and seeing the type of change that we want to see in our lives, for our family, and in the world, as Nelson Mandela was, we would all accomplish our goals. But the problem is that so many of us don't have the grit that is necessary to get through the hard stuff. And so one of the main reasons why businesses don't actually succeed is because we expect really big results right at the beginning. We expect to see crazy momentum and proof that we're on the right track. And when we don't feel that we're getting that, we pump the brakes. And an example of this is that we all beat ourselves up when we start something. So say we write a blog post or we do a Facebook Live and we've really had a hard time getting ourselves to put ourselves out there, but we finally build up the confidence to do a video or to do a podcast or to do a post. And we put it out there and we do not see the traction that we want. And what we do in that moment is convince ourselves that all of our efforts were useless, that we're never going to see the results that we want, and that we should just quit. When in reality, the reason why we're not seeing those big results that we want is because us putting out one video or doing one blog post isn't actually big effort. If we want to accomplish really big things in our life, we have to recognize that the effort that we put into it has to be equally as large. We have to be equally prepared to show up and do all of that hard stuff, because at the end of the day, if building a business and actually accomplishing our big goals in life were easy, every single person in the world would be doing it. But a lot of people try and they don't actually do it, not because they're not capable, not because they don't have the resources, but because they expect too much at the beginning and they're impatient. As humans, we want what we want right now. Even though we're adults, a lot of the times we still have those child bratty tendencies where we just want whatever the thing is that we want right now. We don't want to wait. We don't want to be patient. We don't want to put in the work. And so because of that, so many people give up way before they should because they have unrealistic expectations. And those unrealistic expectations also play out in the form of doubt, in the form of making ourselves feel really bad because we're not seeing the results that we want. In reality, most businesses take statistically 5 years to turn a profit. 5 years. Now, we are lucky because we live in a day and age where starting an online business has absolutely never in the history of existence ever been easier. Starting a brick and mortar business is totally different because that stuff's still hard. But starting an online business is insanely easy. Your ability to make money is a lot faster than it has ever been. Social media is free. I've been doing this video for free. We don't have to pay for advertising the way that you used to have to before, marketing materials, all that kind of stuff, which makes it this really amazing opportunity that we're in time where we are able to build and grow businesses. But the problem is that we're still telling ourselves that we have a lack of resources, or that it's too much money, or that it's taking too much time. So again, just be patient. Because I talked about Nelson Mandela at the beginning, one of his most famous quotes is that it always seems impossible until it's done. And that's what I really want you to recognize and to remember. So again, one of the first reasons why businesses fail is because we expect like insanely killer results right out of the gate, and we are unwilling to do any trial and error. We're unwilling to make mistakes and learn and correct those mistakes. The second reason why a lot of businesses fail and why a lot of people don't actually accomplish their goals is because we're too scared to invest. When I say invest, I mean invest time, I mean invest money, but I also mean invest energy. As humans, we want these guarantees, and you hear people saying that all the time. Well, what can you guarantee me if I'm going to invest all of this time and money? I want you to guarantee me that you're going to get results. And that's not just in like the coaching field, that's in anything, in health and fitness. And if we thought about investing in our goals and in our businesses the way we think about investing in other things, what we would come to recognize is that in order for us to get the really big things that we want in life, we have to be willing to invest time, money, and energy into those things. And that might mean going into debt. But again, this is the easiest time in the history of the planet to start an online business. There is the least amount of resistance. Everything is the cheapest that it's ever going to be. And so if you really, truly do want to build a business that pays for the type of lifestyle that you want, at the beginning, especially because you're not making money, you really should invest in some support. I'm just reading my notes over here. So one of the examples too with investing that we do in our life, most of us buy homes, and we buy a home even though we can't actually afford it. So we take out a mortgage. That's why the mortgage industry is a big booming industry. So how is it that we understand that buying a house is worth such a large financial investment, but investing in our business isn't? And this is where in the business component, I want you to seriously ask yourself, like, do you believe in yourself? Is this business something that you actually want to do? Are you willing to put in the work? Because if the answer is yes on all of those fronts, then you really should be willing to invest, again, not only money, but time and energy. I don't know if you can see, it's always backwards. You can see behind me here, like I have a whole shelf of books. Those books aren't for show. I have read them, and I have a whole bunch of books downstairs that I'm reading as well. I read absolutely every single morning, work week morning. I don't really read on the weekends. I let myself unplug. But I'm investing like money into buying these books, but I'm also investing time and energy into reading and learning and growing and developing and honing my skills. And a lot of people are not willing to do that. And so I want you to ask yourself, if you're really struggling right now in your business, is it because you're not investing enough? And again, investing enough does not just mean money into courses and resources, but it also means, are you actually investing enough time and energy into growing your business? Or are you spending all your time and energy just doing mediocre tasks or administrative tasks? Like, are you actually investing your time and energy properly and correctly? Or are you sitting back and waiting for guarantees in whatever domain it is? The other thing, oops, I'm just going to scroll down there in my notes, is we just give up. That is honestly, in my opinion, one of the number one reasons why people's businesses fail or why their goals go unrealized. It's because they give up. And I understand what it's like to want to give up. When you get kicked like in the gut, and I did a post on Instagram yesterday about this, but when you get kicked in the gut, you really feel like giving up, giving in, and retreating. It's really hard when you feel that something's been going really well and then all of a sudden the wind gets taken out of your sails. We really go through these moments of feeling bad for ourselves. And I have been there myself. I've been there where something happens in my business and I ask myself like, oh, like again, or like, do I really want to do this whole coaching thing? Is building a business like something I really want to do? Or I tell myself this story about how hard it is and I get angry and bitter and I go through all of those feelings. But at the end of the day, I get back up and I keep moving forward to help grow my business because, again, go back to Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison for the thing that he wanted to do in this world. So is the wind getting taken out of my sails really that bad? Nobody is throwing me in prison whenever shit hits the fan in my business, you know? And I'm not doing anything illegal, but in all fairness, Nelson Mandela also wasn't doing anything illegal. And this is a really important thing. And that can be a perspective shift that you use, that I use as well, is in those moments where we want to give up because we feel sorry for ourselves, because maybe we're not making enough money. Maybe we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. Maybe a client said something bad about us, or someone said something bad online, or we have a client pull out, or someone not pay us, like all of the things that occur when running a business. I want you to remind yourself that you're still in a really awesome position, because you're in a position where you get to still continue to try and build out and live out your dreams and your goals. And it's okay to feel hurt, and it's okay to be down on yourself, but you want to pick yourself back up and you want to keep going. If Nelson Mandela can spend 27 years in prison and come out and still be Nelson Mandela and then become president, I'm pretty sure we can get over whatever took the wind out of our sails. And the really important thing too, when we have those moments where we feel like we've been kicked in the gut when it comes to our business or our goals, is to also remember that that feeling is temporary. It's not a fixed state of being. So if you're feeling really overwhelmed, let's say, for example, you had a lot of unexpected expenses this month, and maybe you didn't have as many clients do as many hours with you as you were expecting, or a client doesn't pay, or they end their contract early. So you end up in a situation where you're really, really strapped for cash and you're really stressed about it. And it's in those situations that we panic, and that we start to ask ourselves, like, is this, like, can I actually do this? Was this a good idea? Why was I so stupid? Like, I should never have thought that I could build this whole business thing. What we need to recognize is, in that moment, we're in a hole. We have dug a hole for ourselves and we've jumped in that hole, and we are choosing to stay there. But that hole is not a fixed state. It is a temporary place. And so in that moment where you're feeling really stressed and overwhelmed financially, which is often people's struggles at the beginning of growing a business, again, on average, most businesses take 5 years to turn a profit. Running a service-based business in the online world, it's really easy for you to turn a profit before that 5-year mark. So your life is not as low as you think it is. And again, I've told myself these things. So it's like, have these realistic expectations, but recognize that whatever stressful thing you're going through right now is temporary, and it will end, and you will go back to things being well as long as you don't give up. And if you're in that state of feeling like frustrated, then find a way, like, how can you make sure that the situation doesn't happen again? Or if you're strapped for cash, how can you try and find more clients? How can you pump up your marketing or your lead generation or your sales process, or book in more strategy calls? There's always a solution. And the reason I wanted to share this video with you is because I know, and I've been seeing it a lot more and more, where because we're getting really overwhelmed, we start to question if our goals of wanting to build out a business is viable. And I just want to remind you that it is viable, but it's not going to be easy. Building a business is not a walk in the park. It's more like climbing Mount Everest. And you have to be prepared for the emotional, physical, and mental skill set that you need to be able to get to the top of Mount Everest. People train for years to be able to climb that mountain. So be kind and gentle with yourself as you're going on this entrepreneurial journey, and recognizing that you're going to screw up, recognizing that things aren't always going to go the way that you want them to do. Recognize that there is going to be a high level of effort and intention and trial and error along your path to building out your business. And it really is just about sticking to the path and doing it. If Nelson Mandela can do 27 years in prison and still come out Nelson Mandela and still become president of South Africa, I think you and I can get through whatever not permanent, so temporary turmoil that we are currently in. And that really is why most businesses fail. Most businesses fail just because it's a variation of us giving up. It's a variation of us not investing or being unwilling to take that risk and invest, even though we do it in other areas of our life. And it's for us in areas where we expect way better results than the effort that we're putting in. It's because we expect more at the beginning. And everything is just really about recognizing that, again, building a business, it's not a walk in the park. It's like climbing Mount Everest. And so you have to train, you have to be committed to it. You have to be committed to all the fuck ups that are going to happen along the way. But if you stay committed and you stay the course and you get the support and you get the resources that you need, you're going to make it to where it is that you want. You just have to stay in the game long enough to actually get there. And if if you ever are struggling around the whole, like, okay, like how do I find clients, or how do I market or sell myself, like the actual strategy side of it, always feel free to reach out to me or book in a free consultation with me or check out my online course. I have a ton of resources. So if you're struggling to grow your business and the reason why you want to quit or are contemplating quitting is because you can't figure out how to find clients, that's not an excuse. There are a ton of resources out there. Before I ever started my business, I had no idea what I was doing. I thought that building an online business was easy, but that's because I didn't know all of the things that I had to do. And when I realized all of the things I had to do and I got help, then it became, again, simple. Simple, not easy, because you do have to put in all that effort and that work, but it's always, always worth it in the end. So as always, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. And if you gathered anything from it, it's at least to remind yourself that, again, if Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison for the thing that he believed in and got out and was still Nelson Mandela and still created goodness in the world, and if he didn't give up on his dreams and his goals and his vision for this world, despite everything that happened to him, there's absolutely no reason why you should give up on your goals, your vision, and the things that you want to create in this world. Because you do have the skills, you do have the capacity. You just have to stay in it long enough to figure out all that stuff. You have to weather the storms, and you have to believe in yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you do those things, you're going to get to whatever destination it is that you desire. So again, as always, I hope you guys had enjoyed today's video, that you're having a good week, and I will talk with you soon. Bye.